world these days, I think about, well, if I can get 10 people to become teachers each year, and each of those 10 can get 10 people to become teachers, and each of those 10, in less than a decade, then we end up with 10 billion people who are on Team Plant Lovers, and that's more than the population of the earth. So in less than a decade, we can have everybody on board with foraging and gardening and, you know, living in a good relationship to the plants. And number 5 is to give thanks to the plants. You know, make it a real relationship, not just like a transactional relationship, but like, you know, elation. Elation is the core of relationship. I think we forget that a lot when we use that word. Like, relationship just becomes an object or something, a transactional agreement, but it's really all about cultivating like a feeling of gratitude, and on that level, you know, the most basic level of giving thanks to the plants is to sustainably harvest. First of all, that's like, you know, please harvest sustainably. Don't go out and dig up all the ramps just because you can recognize them and they're delicious. Go back and gather the ramp seeds in the fall. That's like the next level of it. So there's sustainable foraging is like the bare minimum of gratitude that we can offer to the plants. But the highest gratitude that we can offer them is to propagate them and to help them to grow and continue their traditions and continue their lineage of sun worship. That's basically what they do, you know, they just worship the sun, they offer their fruits and flowers to anybody who's around, and they're so giving. They give us everything. Like, from the moment the umbilical cord is cut, the first breath that we take in, it only works because of the photosynthetic beings of the earth. And every breath that we take thereafter, and these physical bodies that we have, this is just an accumulation of plant matter and microbes. I like to remind people that we're kind of like leather bags full of compost tea, you know, and as long as breath is moving through us, we're capable of incredible things. We can have amazing experiences, but as soon as that breath stops, we go back in the compost pile, and this accumulation of plant matter goes back to the trees and to the plants. And so it's important for us to remember our place in this cycle and to give thanks to these beings that give us literally everything. Even the fuel that we all drove here today on is from ancient ferns and ancient trees that were around 50 million to 350 million years ago. You know, like, that's plants. It's all plants. Every part of our life is coming from plant. All the houses that we live in, all the food that we eat, all the energy that we consume, it's all plants. So give thanks and plant them back. Like today, for example, I got up extra early and drove up to Downingtown or Downingtown, I'm not sure how you say it. Downingtown. So I went up there, and there's the remnants of this old forest garden that this brother John Hershey planted back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And there's some really special trees that he planted that were like very select breeds of nuts and fruits and things like that. So I ran up there to gather a bunch of nuts, and I gathered, you know, probably 30 or 40 pounds of these hicons. This is the largest nut in North America. It's probably delicious, but I don't know, because so far all I do is sprout them all because I want more of these trees. I would rather have one more tree that can produce hundreds and hundreds of pounds, you know, each year and live for hundreds or even thousands of years than for me to have the flavor of a delicious nut in my mouth. You know, it's like we really gotta be mindful of what it is that we're consuming and what it is that we're giving back to the plants that we consume. Like, same thing with chestnuts. This year I gathered probably 300 pounds of chestnuts, and I'm sprouting at least like 60 pounds. So probably over 4,000 trees I'm growing.
Where? Yeah, you're growing them.
Down in southern Maryland, in a little town called St. Leonard. My good brother William Kramer, he owns a place called Chesapeake's Bounty, and it's this really cool little kind of farm stand, all local food. Everything that he sells comes from within the Chesapeake Bay watershed, and yeah, 100% local. And we're planting forest gardens, and we got these goofy tropical greenhouses where we're just like breaking all the rules. Like, forget it. You know, we're growing turmerics that are this tall. People are like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "I don't know, horse manure." Just they're just rocking. Turmeric's awesome. I don't know.